how to break the habit of being ourselves, how to change these patterns, how to change your belief systems, how to change your emotional state. So friends, it is called the memory without the emotional charge is called wisdom. So every time, because any event happens in our life, it is now we associate it with a memory, and and every time so the key important thing is uh, uh, that you need to unmemorize that emotion, unmemorize that memory. So even though we may remember that memory, but we have to unmemorize an emotion. With every memory, there's an emotional charge, right? And once you only when we memorize that emotion, then you liberate so much of energy. Every time you memorize an emotion, you liberate so much of energy, and now that same energy is available to actually create a few future, to create a few new future. So friends, sometimes people wait for, and there and change happens in two situations. Most of the time, the change will happen in two situations. It's called even the either the Kensho moments or the Satori moments. Kensho moments in Japanese is called Kensho. It is a moment of pain or suffering or crisis. So most people wait for pain or crisis or trauma or suffering, and the other is Satori moment. Satori is like in a state of meditation. You get some insights, you get some awakening, and then you change. And my message is, why wait? Why not? Why wait for those Kensho moments? Why not change in the moment of Satori, in the moment of joy and inspiration, in the moment of insights and through awakening? Because we don't need to wait. We don't need to go through pain and suffering. But even if we go through it, it is a great tool for a spiritual awakening. Like for me, when my father died, I was in a state of depression. Then I met Patriji, my spiritual teacher. Then I've gone to meditation. I was going through a chest TB, and I healed my TB because of that. And then because of meditation, and that's how I got into spirituality in '97, and that's how it transformed my life. So for me, that was a Kensho moment, which as a suffering, which brought the change into my life. So we can always, it's a choice what we want to make. So suffering can give a grace. It can be a potent suffering. Your very suffering can become a potent healing mechanism. It can give you a great opportunity for you to transform in your life. So friends, to really change, you have to be greater than your environment. You have to be greater than your environment, body, and time. So you have to decide, does my environment control my thinking? Does my environment outside controls my thinking, or my thinking controls my environment? Right? Again, I repeat, does your environment control your thinking, or your thinking control your environment? So we have to think, we have to see what is the model of reality, whether it is your condition outside which is determining your emotion, or it is your emotion which is determining your condition. So to really make a change, you have to think greater than environment, because our environment is nothing but an extension of your mind. And you always think equal to what you know and equal to your environment. You always think equal to your emotions. These are all interconnected. You always think equal to what you know. You always think equal to your emotion. You always think equal to your environment. And that's why it is so difficult to change. But when you change your mind, when you change your thoughts, when you change your feelings, actually your life changes. To really make a change, you need to think differently, you need to feel differently, and that's how your life changes. So we have to change the whole model of reality, rather than living a life of cause and effect, where something happened outside. If we are challenged with some challenging situation outside, we feel unhappy, we feel sad, or we feel anxiety, we feel pain or suffering, or if the outside situation is good, something nice, something good happens outside, then we feel joy, we feel happy, we feel inspired. So what is happening? The cause is happening outside and the effect is happening inside. So friend, that was a Newtonian model of reality, where there's a cause outside and the effect inside. But the quantum model of reality, or the quantum model of living, is, rather than living a life of cause and effect, you could be causing an effect. You could be making a change. By effecting a change in your emotion, by effecting a change in your feeling, you change the condition outside. That's why I said that your feelings are equal to prayer. What you're feeling is what you're praying for. What you feel is what you draw, but this is what you draw into your life. Your feelings are like magnets. Whatever you feel is what you draw into your life. So you have to ask yourself. You have to really become aware of every thought, every emotion, every feeling, and ask yourself: Does my personality creates my personal reality, or vice versa, or the personal reality is actually affecting your personality? So to really make a change, we have to become a consciousness observing the program. Because the moment you observe the program, you dissociate from the program. Now you're a third party. Now you know, this is the program running. This is my old self. This is not my new self. This is not my future self. This is my old self. So the very act of observing the program, lose the intensity of that program, lose the intensity of your old emotions, lose the intensity of your old thoughts. And the more conscious you are of your unconscious, the less unconscious you will go during the course of the day. So friends, that is why it is said that life is not happening to you. Life is actually happening from you. So you are the change. You are all. It starts from you, or all ends with you. So when things change inside you, things change around you. You do not attract what you want in your life. You attract what you are. Whatever, if you deserve it, the universe will serve it. And your deservability comes from your feelings. If you can match your thoughts with your emotions, with your feelings, the universe will serve it. It will match. It's a match game. Whatever is your vibrational contribution to the field, to the quantum field, the universe will exactly draw the events. The universe will conspire. All the cooperative components in the world will conspire together, will come together to bring that event into your life. So it is a match game which the universe plays with whatever is your vibrational contribution to that quantum field. That's why in our ancient Indian scriptures it's called Yad Bhavam Tad Bhavti. Whatever our feelings are, our emotions are, that's what happens in our life. That's what you draw that event into your life. Yatha Drishti Tatha Srishti. Whatever as you observe things, you draw those events into your life. The observer affects what is being observed. Your subjective mind has an impact on the objective world. So that's why Wayne Dyer said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. So by the very act of observation, you collapse the possibility into the field and you draw that event into your life. So Jaisi Gati, Vaisi Mati. So whatever is your state of mind is the state of your personal reality. Jaisi Mati, Vaisi Gati. Whatever is the state of mind is the state of your personal reality. So friends, we have to learn how to change the model of reality. Rather than the condition outside determining your emotion, we have to learn how to change your emotion to transform that condition outside. When you change the emotion inside, magically, effortlessly, all the condition outside will change. If we can stay in that emotion, if we can hold those emotions for an elongated period of time, if we can stay in that feeling if we can linger in that feeling for a longer period of time, then the outside condition will change. We'll see the more evidence of which is corresponding to that feeling, now corresponding to a new emotion. So contemplate yourself as surrounded by the condition you want to produce in your life. So rather than focusing, if you are facing challenging situation, let not your condition current condition fade your vision. Be aligned with your future vision. You know, and the more you focus on the future vision, the more you will draw that reality. Our problem is when any challenging situations happen in a life, any thoughts that trouble us most is if that becomes a predominant thought. We keep thinking of what's missing in our life, what is not there in our life, and then and because of our attention, we draw more of that situation into our life. We draw more of that reality into your life. So let not your condition fade your vision. So drop your resistance. The moment you have a challenging situation, you're in a state of complete resistance. But the moment you are aligned with your future vision, and with that future vision, if you can stay in that emotion of your future vision, and that's where meditation comes in. Meditation plays a key role of how to transform how to transcend your emotion. Then you can drop all the resistance, which is all the resistance which is born out of that current situation. Now you can be in a state of acceptance and allowance, and now you can be more in a receptive mode. And the more are you in a receptive mode of what you want, then you'll have a corresponding thoughts, corresponding feelings, so that now the thoughts can turn into things. So be in a state of least resistance, be in a state of acceptance and allowance into your life. And then you'll allow those situations which is matching your vibrational contribution, which we are giving, which we are broadcasting to the field, and you will draw more of the situation, that event into your life. So the next slide is now how to make that change into your life. So I call it crossing the river of change. Why? Because to change is actually stepping into the river. How first time if you're crossing into a river, which is so unknown, how you feel fearful. So it is like stepping into the river of change, into the river of unknown, because we don't want to change, because we want to stay into the familiar territory, because the unknown, because when you're stepping into the river of unknown, it is so unfamiliar, and we rather be into the predictable past than to be into the unpredictable future, because we fear the unknown. But friends, that unknown is actually the field of infinite possibilities. It is unknown, but at the same time, the unknown is a field of infinite possibilities. That is where new possibilities arise. Otherwise, when you're living only in the past emotion, and you're only in the predictable future, only into the familiar feeling or the familiar thoughts and emotions and the familiar environment, there's nothing, no changes happening in your life. And the best way to predict your future is actually to create it. And why it is so challenging? Why it is so challenging because we're addicted to our emotion. We're addicted to the same chemicals, to the same emotions. And when we are trying to make a change in your life, your body's mind will resist, because your body was addicted to the same emotion. And now we are not getting the same chemical reaction. Your mind will resist. It will crave back to the same old emotion. So that's why even though you think positive, you feel positive for a while, you get up from a meditation, you feel positive for a while, but the moment you meet the same people, you meet the same spouse, the same mother-in-law, you see the same boss in your office, you face the same traffic while driving, you go back to your past emotion. Because you're addicted to the past. You want to live that same emotion, same chemical reaction. And that's why it is so difficult to change. Your body mind will always crave to go back to your past. Whenever you are trying to change, your body mind will resist. It will complain. It will judge. It will make you feel uncomfortable. You'll feel so much of boredom, so unfamiliar, so unknown. And then you go back to your past. Your body mind will crave and always want you to take you to your old emotion, so that it gets so that you think the same feeling. The same feeling will sponsor the same emotion, and the same emotion will release the same chemical, and now which again go back to produces the same feeling, and now you go back to your past. So friends, to really make a change, you have to deny your body that chemical addiction. You have to, because if you fight for your limitation, you got to keep it. Most of the time, you keep fighting for a limitation. And more you fight for your limitation, the more you got to keep it. So, so whether you think you can or you cannot, you're all right. If you think you can change. If you think you cannot change, you will not change. So either way, you're all right. So whatever your mind can conceive and believe, you can achieve. So it's all starts with you and ends with you. It's your choice. And what you're not changing, you're choosing. What you're not changing, you're choosing. So you don't think that there's a status quo. There is no status quo. Either you're moving forward or actually you're going backward. There is no status quo. And that's why to really make a change, the very first step is you have to become a consciousness observing the program. You have to be aware of your old unconscious thought. Unless you don't know what to change, how will you change? Your diagnosis is the half solution. If you have diagnosed it correctly, then only you can treat then only you can treat the patient. Unless there's the right diagnosis, you will prescribe a wrong treatment. So that's why diagnosis is the half solution. So the very act of changing or the very act of observation is you're diagnosing the solution. You're diagnosing diagnosing the problem, and that's where meditation comes in. That's why meditation is called dhyan. Dhyan means awareness. Awareness means being aware, consciousness. You're fully conscious, you're fully aware. So it's our choice, friends. It is our choice whether you want to be a host to your past or you want to be a hostage, whether you want to be a host to your future or you want to be a hostage to your past. It's totally our choice. So we can be a prisoner of our past, or we can experience the freedom being aligned with our future. So it's our choice. And when you make these choices, you will face challenges. Because what happens is when you are meditating, when you are making a change in your life, when you're changing your vibrational frequency, you will face a lot of challenges in your life. Because what happens is initially there'll be a lot of chaos in your life. When you are making those vibrational frequency, now once you have raised your vibrational frequency with your new thoughts, with your new emotions, with the help of your meditation or you're reading any book or attending any workshop, or through a right company, you have changed, you elevated your emotion, you're in an elated state now. So now whatever is not aligned with your current vibration frequency will by the very law of attraction will get dropped into your situation. It could be your friends, it could be your closest relationship, it could be your spouse, it could be your job. You may all of a sudden you may lose your job. But the beauty is, and that's why you resist change, because you're stepping into the unknown. You're fearing of the unknown, and initially it may cause you suffering. It may cause you pain, but the consciousness knows it all. But once you are making a change in your life, once you're making a change, once you're changing your vibration frequency, now you are making room for everything which is aligned with your new frequency. You'll have a new relationship. You might have a new set of friends now. You're making room for a new set of friends which are aligned with your new vibration, which are aligned with your new frequency. You are making room for a new job, the job which you love it, where you'll be in love in your job rather than hating or resisting what you're doing now. You will love your new job, because what you resist, you persist. Whatever you're resisting, if you resist change, you'll draw more of those situations which will continue to live into the same situation in your life. And that's why whatever you deserve it, the universe will serve it. If you're deserving, if you are staying in the feeling of boredom or fear or anxiety, the universe will serve more of those situations in your life. But if you want to live in a state of joy and inspiration, if you change your emotion, the universe will serve more of those situations which is corresponding to those feelings. And whenever you're making change, it is okay. You might make some mistakes. You might make some, it might surprise you. But the brain, the research has shown that the brain always learns through mistakes and surprises. There are no failures, only lessons. Even if you make a mistake, you learn the lesson, and now you're much more wiser. You're much more intelligent. So there are no failures, there are only lessons. And even if you suffer, maybe initially because of your failures or your mistakes, or because of the change, because of the chaos in your life, it may look as a suffering. But friends, suffering actually has a noble purpose. We always evolve through suffering. So suffering has a noble purpose. It can lead to an evolution of consciousness and actually burning of our ego. So sometimes your suffering is better than the superficial happiness. Suffering is a potent healing mechanism. So, and most of the time, the suffering actually results from the story we tell ourselves. And if you're conscious of your story, healing, you can actually you can turn it into a healing. You can turn your suffering into a healing, rather than being trapped into that emotional cycle or the vicious cycle of that suffering, and living the same emotion, which is causing to reaffirming the same condition, and the same condition leading to the same emotion. You can, with your awareness, with your meditation, with your consciousness, you can actually be disassociated from the suffering, and your healing is born out of that awareness. It is that moment of choice before your mind created a story. It is that fraction of second before that mind created the old story, and then you go back to your past. But you always have the choice, that fraction of the second, that few seconds where you can dissociate from that old story and be aligned with your future vision. So healing is born out of awareness, and every problem lies with its inherent opportunities. Problems are nothing but opportunities in disguise. The problems and opportunities are sides of the same coin. And it is often said that we suffer not because of the situation, but because of our thoughts around it. That's why Buddha said, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, because through our thoughts we suffer, not because of the situation. So all situations are actually fundamentally neutral. When we judge it, we actually assign a meaning, right or wrong, good or bad. And through that meaning, when we assign that meaning, we actually we invite that reality into our lives. So Buddha said, seeing is freeing. The moment you are able to see it, the more conscious you are of your unconscious thoughts, the less unconscious you go during the course of the day. And the more you are aware of your thought, the more unconscious you are, you lower the volume, you lower the intensity of those emotions, of those frequencies, of those patterns, of those vibrations. And now you'll be more aligned with your future vision. So friends, it is important. Carlos Castaneda said, give up your personal story, give up your personal history. Because when you give up your personal story, your personal history, then you're not compelled to live up to that emotion, to that history, to that story. So give up your old story. Most of the time we spend so much of time convincing, living up my old story, my old facade. So drop your old story completely. And life events help you. Whatever events which is happening in a life events always help you to, in any situation, it always helps you to heal and grow. Life is happening for you and not to you. It is always in your benefit. The universe is always rigged in your favor. Life challenges always helps you to break your heart open. Even though it is a seemingly challenging situation, but actually it helps you to break your heart open, and the person is more kind, more gentle, more humble, more loving. Rumi said, it is through the wounds that the light of God enters. Your connection with God is deepest when the horizon is darkest. So friends, with repeated life challenges, your soul is actually drawing your attention for your spiritual awakening. So don't be scared of any challenges. Don't be scared of any suffering. Don't be scared of any crisis. Crisis creates opportunity. Don't be scared of any contrast situations in your life. In that contrast situation, just your challenge is to be how to maintain these elevated emotions, how to maintain that love-based emotions, that creative emotions. And if you can maintain those emotions, then the outside situation will change. Your condition outside will change. So your challenge is your only challenge is emotional manifestation, not the physical manifestation. And if you can maintain that if you can manifest it emotionally for a elongated period of time, for a longer period of time, then you'll maintain it physically. It's a law. There's no exception. You will change physically into your life. So to make a change, friends, to make any new change, it has to be, you have to be excited about it. You have to be, you have to make a choice. Are you interested or are you committed? It's like pregnancy. Either you're in it or you're not. You can't be saying that, oh, I'm half pregnant, half not. Either you are in or either you are not. So you have to have that same commitment. You know how when we go for the first school trip, we did not know where we are going to go. It was so unknown. We did not know what we are going to encounter, how we are going to sleep, whom we are going to meet, what we are going to do. But still, we were so excited. We were so excited. We had so much enthusiasm. To really make a change, we have to live our life with the same enthusiasm, same excitement for that unknown, for that unpredictable future. Because that unknown is the field of infinite possibilities, infinite opportunities. So friends, to really make a change, we have to learn to make a change at so many levels. To really make a change is a biological, neurological, chemical, hormonal, addictive, genetic death of our old self. We have to learn to die at so many different levels. We have to learn to deny our body those old chemical addictions. Again, I'll repeat, to really make a change is a biological, neurological, chemical, hormonal, addictive, genetic death of our old self. So friends, as energy and consciousness, thoughts and feelings, our frequency and vibrations are all interconnected, all intertwined. So only when you transcend your emotional state, you're ready for new possibilities into your life. You're ready for new events to come into your life. You're ready for a surprise. You're ready for synchronicities. You're ready for serendipities or meaningful coincidences to come into your life. And you're ready for what is coincidences are nothing but co-creating incidences into your life. You are ready for and surprise is always magic, always wonderment. Surprise is always magic is always surprise and wonderment. So that is how you create magic into your life. So don't it's okay to step into the unknown. It's okay to face some challenges. As long you are maintaining that emotional high vibration state, you're really going to change your life for better. And friends, our problem is with change is because we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. So once you start changing yourself, once you start changing your emotional state, your whole perception of the same situation, you'll perceive it differently. Now the same relationship, you'll perceive it differently. Because now you're no more seeing it from the lens of your past. You now, so that's why to change, you need to overcome your past emotions. It's like to overcome and overcome until you become. And what happens is, most of the time with our attention, we feed our emotion. With our attention, the more we give attention to our old emotion, the more we'll feed that emotion. So there's a story of two wolves, Inside of us lives two wolves. There's one wolf is full of love, joy, happiness, or abundance, all these creative emotions, bliss. And the other wolf, which lives inside of us, is full of pain, anger, frustration, greed, jealousy, guilt, shame. So if there's a fight between these two wolves, I want to ask you, which wolf will win? So yeah, so whichever wolf we give attention to is the one we will win. Because because wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. Wherever your thought goes, your energy flows. Your energy is the currency of the universe. When you pay attention to something, you actually buy that experience. With your attention, you buy that experience. Your attention, your energy is the currency of the universe. So friends, be selective of your focus. Your attention feeds the energy. If you feed more of the energy which is like annoying, if you are in anger and if you feed more of that anger, then you will draw more of the situations which will provoke more anger in you, which will evoke more of that response in you, which will evoke more of that emotion in you. So that's why I say you are the grievance looking for a cause, or you are the joy looking for a cause. So it is in you. It's not outside of you. It is in you. So if it is to be, it's up to me. It is your choice. Opportunity lies in a man, not in a job. So to be, that's what Gandhiji said, be the change you want to see in the world. So if you change inside, when things change inside you, things change around you. So friends, you have to withdraw. We have to learn to be selective of our focus. Withdraw your attention from things what you do not want. Just withdraw your attention from what you do not want. Wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. And oftentimes we tend to think most of which is troubling us. Most of the time we focus on what's missing in our life, or whatever is absence in our life. And that's why there's no change happening. And that's why we are changing, we're drawing more of the reality which affirms the same condition, which affirms the same situation, the same is missing. Which affirms the same thing, which affirms the same thought of what's missing in our life. So friends, it is with our attention, we draw more of that reality. And we have to, and whatever you focus on expands. To the law of thermodynamics, whatever you focus on expands. So you can't get to where you want to go by mostly aware of where you do not want to be. Right? I repeat, you can't get to where you want to go by mostly aware of where you do not want to be. Like worry. What is worry? Worry is nothing but a prayer of increasing the probability of manifesting what you do not want. Because by worrying, you're speculating the worst outcome and you're giving more attention to the worst outcome. And the more you give your attention, the more your energy goes into that. And the more you invite that, more of that reality into your life. More you increase the probability. And if you worry enough for a long time, if you maintain that vibration, or you project that vibration for a longer period of time, then you will definitely draw that, invite that reality into your life. So we all face challenges, and sometimes, so my advice to you is to reduce the length of that survival based emotion. Reduce the refractive period. Let not that negative mood turn into your personality state, into a temperament or your state of being. So take time out through a meditation, through emotion, to change your to go back into your elevated state, and that is the choice you have. That is where you have the free will, and that's how you even transcend karma. So learn to overcome until you become. Once you learn, then if you can maintain that modified state for a longer period of time, and you learn to overcome until you become, then what you become becomes a modified state of being. Then that becomes a natural state. That becomes, then now your happiness is on autopilot now. You don't have to feel that, oh, I want to be happy. Now happiness is your natural state. It is, and it is not something that you want to gather from outside. Actually, happiness or joy is actually homecoming. It is coming back to your home. It is your natural state, right? So Rumi said, be like a melting snow, wash yourself of yourself. So it is nothing that you need to get from outside. We only have to wash ourselves of these survivalist emotions. Once we drop all the survival based emotions, then we are nothing but pure love, pure joy. Again, there's one great quote from Rumi. Yesterday I was clever. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. But today I'm wise, so I want to change myself. So friends, this is our choice. We can be our own leader. We can be our own leader of our body, our own thoughts, our emotions. We can take command into our own hands. And consciousness is a great tool to overcome your body or your mind. That's why Einstein said you cannot solve the same level. You can't solve the problem from the same level of mind which created it. And that's why meditation is a great tool, because once you meditate, you change your vibration frequency. Now, also Einstein said the field is the sole governing agency of matter. Now you're connecting to the quantum field and you are making the change from that. When you change your vibrational frequency, you're more energy, less matter. You're more wave, less particle. And now you're an alchemist. Now you can change anything. You can give with your attention, with your awareness, with your consciousness, with your observation. You can give to that. You can give any reality, any form, any shape to the energy. Whatever you are focusing on, whatever you are emotionally vibrating, whatever vibration frequency which you're contributing to the quantum field, you can give that shape, that reality into your life. So friends, leadership is about leading your own ship. Friends, I'll show a small video. So these are 32 metronomes, and how our feelings are like that. It's a cluster of feelings make into an emotion. So, and when you change one, actually you change all, you affect all. When you're working on one emotion, actually you change all the emotions. You see the one on the right hand corner? That is the stubborn one, that is still not following in. And you saw eventually, finally, it also came into line. It also became part of the group consciousness. So when you change one, you actually are changing all. And that is why when you change yourself, you are actually, you are creating an effect on the world around you. Your attitude is contagious. When you change, that's why when you change, you are actually changing your family around you, your friends around you, your environment around you, your world around you. So that's why somebody asked you how to influence the collective consciousness. When you change within, you are actually influencing the collective consciousness. So there's one quote: if everybody cleans outside their door, the whole world will become clean. So you focus on yourself. You do your job. Do your best and forget the rest. So your choice. It is in your power to change yourself. You do not have a power to change others. You can guide others. You can teach others, or you can advise others. But eventually, the final change is their choice. But you have the power to change yourself. So take that power back to you. So friends, this is a very important slide. When you're making a change in your life, These are the layers of distraction. When you're making a change, you will go through a lot of distractions because your body mind will crave back to go back to your old pattern, old emotion. You meet the same people, same situations, same things, same time, same events, same kal dasha paristiti, and then it will take you to the same emotions. It will induce you to go back to the same emotion, and that's why change becomes difficult. But so these are the layers of distraction. The first distraction is the external environment, you know, because there's a chaos now. People don't like you changing. Everybody asks you what's happening with you, what's wrong with you, are you mad, what's going on? They'll find that there's something something is not right, and then you'll wonder really, and then you go back to your old past. So first, initially, it will be external environment. Then, as you overcome that, that would be a body, because you're addicted to an emotion, and your body will want to go back to your same emotion. And then it's your identity, your belief system, your strong identity you have created about yourself. Then your close relationships, because you'll start losing. Sometimes you start losing your old close relationship. Your best friends is no more vibrating with the same vibration frequency, and all of a sudden situations happen in your life where you lost your best friend. Now he's no more your best friend, and there will always be a reason for it. But and you'll wonder, and you'll again go back to, and then you'll feel a loss. But actually, you're creating room for a better friends, for a better relationship. Your past memories will haunt you. 20 years back, something back happened. And then because your body mind wants to go back to the same emotion, same chemical addiction. So all of a sudden the past memories will come up and it will trigger those emotions, and that will haunt you. Then you have to overcome those past memories. Your old emotions, our emotions are nothing but the record of our past. So we have to overcome of all the emotions through the memories of the past, which we have gathered over our years, not only in this lifetime, but including our previous lifetimes. Now we have to overcome those emotions. So that will come to haunt us. Then your belief systems, because eventually your beliefs drive our behaviors. So we have to overcome our old beliefs. All the old beliefs, we need to drop it. But friends, we can change our beliefs. When you change your feelings, actually you will change your belief. Beliefs change. Also, beliefs change as and when your feelings change. Because when you're aligned with your new feelings, new emotions, slowly, your old beliefs, you're not feeding your old beliefs. So beliefs become what is beliefs? The neurosynaptic connections which become hardwired in your brain, which becomes rigid in your brain. Now it has become your beliefs. But now when you're no more feeding that emotion, no more feeding those old hardwired patterns in your brain, and now you're focused on your new beliefs, your new emotions, your new thoughts, new feelings. Now you're creating neuroplasticity in your brain. Now you're creating new neurosynaptic connections in your brain, and all these synaptic connections, all these neurons in your brain they have magnetic resonance, they have magnetic frequency, and then you will draw new events, new situations, which will vibrate with those new neuron connections in your brain, and with those neuroplasticity in your brain. And then the old neurons and connections will lose the connection, because nerve cells that fire together wire together. Nerve cells which do not fire together do not wire together, right? So if you're not feeding it, it will break. If does old emotions, it will break the synaptic connections. And now your new self, your new body, your new emotions will become your new you. That has become your new personality trait. So you have to challenge your beliefs. So, and the next challenge will come in the form of choices, the voices which will talk you out of your possibility. There'll be some voice in your head. Not today, because your body will try to sponsor those thoughts, because the body wants to crave to those same emotions. It will sponsor some thoughts. Not today. You make a new year resolution, but even within 3 days, your body will say, not today, do it tomorrow. It's okay. You can drink today. Come on, you're in a party now. You can smoke now. It's fine. Everybody is doing it. And then you go back to your past. And the last challenge you face is through disincarnates or through parasites. Friends, in our offering to survive the life challenges or life offerings, uh, in our instinct to survive these life challenges, life offerings, or contrast situations in our life, sometimes we go through we go very we become addicted to these old emotions, and then there are some entities, they stick to our consciousness, and so that's why we have already vacated this body, but they are hovering around these lower frequencies. But now, since you are vibrating at that emotional match, our body becomes their home, and they become those parasites in our emotional body. So sometimes they overtake our body in those low emotional states, and then you need to, but now when you're vibrating at a higher frequency, at a higher emotional state, now their home, the home, your body is no more a safe home for those entities, and then they will challenge you, because now they have to leave the house now. This house is no more safer for them, is no more their own home, because it is no more aligned with their frequency. So they will challenge you. So like that, there are so many layers of distraction: external environment, body, identity, relationships, past memories, emotions, your belief systems, the voices coming in your head, and these disincarnates or these parasites. So imagine, that's why change is so challenging. So you have to go through all these layers of change, all these layers of distraction, to actually really make a change in your life. So that's why you have to make a choice. Are you interested or committed? You really need to be committed. So friend, this is the biological model of change. When you're making a change in your life, this is the biological model of change. And that's why I call this, your biology is your biography. So you have to go from unlearning to relearning, from breaking the habit of being yourself to actually reinventing a new self, from pruning old synaptic connections in your brain to sprouting new connections, from unwiring and unfiring to firing and wiring new nerve cells, new synaptic connections in your brain, from unmemorizing an emotion in the body to reconditioning your body to a new mind, to a new emotion, from losing your mind to creating a new one, from becoming familiar to the old self to becoming familiar with a new self, from deprogramming to reprogramming, from living in the memories of the past to shift to be aligned with the future vision, from living that old energy to the new energy. So this is the biological model of change. So you move from two states. Yeah. So there's two states of mind. So first is animal or human, from animal human state of consciousness to human divine state of consciousness. So in the first state, you're in a survival mode. So you move from survival to the creation mode. You move from stress to homeostasis. You move from contraction to expansion state, from that expanded state of consciousness. Through meditation, when you drop your identity, your personality states, you experience that expanded state of consciousness. From catabolism to anabolism. So catabolism is tissue breakdown. When you are living in the hormones of stress, there's a tissue breakdown. When you are living in the hormones of love, happiness, then there's a tissue repair, anabolism. So from catabolism to anabolism. So this is from disease to health, from imbalance to order, from breakdown to repair, from degeneration to regeneration, from changing from the state of fear, anger, sadness to the state of love, joy, trust, gratitude, happiness, from selfish to selfless state, from living in an old environment, body of time, to the state to move beyond your body, environment, and time, where you become nothing, nobody, no time, nowhere. So from energy loss to energy gain, growth and repair, from living in an emergency mode You move to the state of growth and repair. From being separated from everything and from your own self, now you're in a state of connectedness, a state of oneness. From the reality determined by senses, now you are living in a reality beyond senses, right? From rather than living a life of cause and effect, now you are causing an effect. From living in a state of limited possibilities, now you become all possibilities. You're open to the unknown, which is the field of infinite possibilities. From living in a state of incoherence, now you're living in a state of coherence, from unknown to unknown. So friend, this is the state of this is the whole model of change. And that's why it is worth changing. It is worth giving it's worth for you to give it a try. And this happens, friends, when you're trying to make a change. Some simple instructions on how to handle change. I am not available right now, but thank you for caring enough to call. I am making some changes in my life. Please leave a message after the beep. If I do not return your call, you are one of the changes. So that's how, friends, you have to be open for the change. And it's true. Sometimes you might have to change your friends, your situations, your reality around you, and but it's worth a try.